The Purloined Number, Chapter 2. Justice. The word crept into Rallium Smorlid's brain like an intracranial boar beast, silent and single-minded. It slipped slyly between thoughts on Carnaxian philosophy, memories of star systems he may or may not have visited, and an annoying internal monologue on Mathgar Kidney he couldn't seem to shake. Justice. Clearly it meant something, but these days it was hard to recall what that might be. He recalled recalling once, but that vanished as quickly as it came. Besides, it wasn't like he could concentrate on it, not with the ceiling shaking like this. Ancient sand sifted down onto the cavern floor and filtered into the sun-fried tangle of Raleigh's white blonde hair. The humming sound from above was too heavy to be the rampaging tread of a ravenous warg-sloot, too even to be from a feisty acidic steam blast, and too sustained to be two hungry daisies locked in a wrestling match over the latest unsuspecting tidbit. It was the perfect sound, however, for... No, but that was impossible. It couldn't be. There was simply no reason for it, no blasted reason at all, unless... Raleigh leapt up from the woven mat on the floor of his makeshift living room, scattering the bones and stones and twine that, if things went as planned, would become a handy anti-daisy long-range projectile-based deterrent system, and he cupped a hand to one wickedly sunburned ear. Yes, he could hear it now, and it had to be either a ship landing on the surface of Altair 5 or a very detailed hallucination of one. From the sounds of it, it was a Quasar 920XE deluxe model short-range runabout with rotor-rocket boosters, upper-lower LOM casings, and was it? Yes, quite possibly. Titanium retractable cup holders. He dashed to the wooden elevator to greet this sight, to see what poor sluggard had been exiled to Altair 5 this time and how long the newbie would last against the local attractions. Then he remembered. Supplies. He couldn't just go up there like this was some normal, livable planet, could he? He had to prepare, suit up, arm. What had he been thinking? Justice. Too much was the answer. He was thinking far too much at once, and it was getting in the fragging way again. But, after all, that was the tricky bit with systemic hypermoto cerebrostasia. Under normal circumstances, it could be well regulated with prescribed medications. In a non-medically approved way, which was the way Raleigh much preferred, the condition was eased with a nice Carsulian pod liquor or 12, followed by a Figar high-impact bourbon and a Zlorgon chaser. He'd heard a cudgel worked well, too, but that was less easily self-applied. Without this regular health regimen, Raleigh's brain processed the world around him far too fast, and that brain had been without proper treatment for 6 months to date. 6 months, it turned out, was exactly how long it took to work through all of the indigenous leaves, berries, roots, and flowers on Altair 5 and ferment each of them into something that was not only instantly unhealthfully poisonous, but also didn't have that nice bouquet the Unimags were always so flared about. Most of the time, Raleigh could make a rough kind of sense of all the information coming at him, filter it down to a handful of more pressing matters, justice, and relegate the rest into pushy background noise. But actual focus, well, that was so very much 6 months ago. So he dashed from the elevator platform, ducked a stalactite, and grabbed up his hand-woven acid deflector. Handle hooked over an arm, he moved to the console table he built from scraps of wood and the carapace of the thousand-toothed Mang that had gotten over-aggressive on his last surface expedition. On the tabletop were dozens of gadgets and concoctions, patents not yet applied for, designed to ease life on Altair 5. There was the Spew Mobility Containment Spray, thousand-toothed Mang repellent, and something that looked a bit like an upholstery stapler, but he couldn't remember what that was supposed to do anymore. He snatched up these and stuffed a number of them into a satchel he'd made from the emptied skull of a trajectodon that once filed a complaint with him over a property line dispute. He scanned the other objects on the table and seized a dagger he carved from the tusk of a gliding imp, a chemgun he pulled together from stuff he found lying around, and the tiny shovel the Hyphas Delton Reg Force had given him back when they dumped him on Altair 5. The lawman had told him that digging out the tar pits could be an engaging hobby. Given the size of the shovel and the size of the tar pits, this was clearly the kind of joke you got from people who didn't believe in taking their sense of humor out for exercise often. It had, however, helped him unearth his current subterranean abode. He hung a few of his most popular necessities on a utility belt that he'd made months ago from his left sleeve. He also grabbed a hat he'd formed from some large acid-resistant leaves. Altair 5 had proven to be a poor climate for the fair Hyphosite complexion. As it stood, it was unlikely his skin and hair would ever recover. Secure in his preparations, Raleigh now leapt back onto the elevator platform and seized the ropes attached to the pulley in the ceiling. With 3 great heaves, he reached the surface hatch and released it. In poured the sickly light of the GCU's version of hell.